My eyes have met this book many times over the years in various bookshops, but I would always end up turning away, just like this mysterious gentleman on the cover. Seeing the name of the city where I spent over 10 years of my life in the title did not entice me. On the contrary, I felt disinterested in reading about a familiar place when I resided there, and then outright averse after the war started and I left. Not so long ago, however, I received a glowing recommendation for this book and finally picked it up. And now I am forever grateful to the person who inspired me to read it. You know who you are. Not often does the one right word to describe a work of literature so readily spring to mind as it does here. It's the same word, in fact, that I remember from an anecdote in the biography of Vladimir Horowitz, who is incidentally mentioned a few times in this book. As an emigre in the US, Horowitz initially struggled with English. When he was presented to the First Lady of the United States at the time, he introduced himself by saying, "I am delightful," instead of "I am delighted." And while he didn't intend to brag, he spoke the truth. For according to those who knew him, delightful he was. So does this book. Without conceit or pretense, it clearly communicates from the very introduction that it is simply, positively, absolutely delightful. And there are three reasons why reading The Gentleman in Moscow was such a memorable experience. The first thing you notice from the opening pages is that it's just so beautifully written. The choice of words, the turn of phrase, the care with which the narrative is woven together make you savor and relish every line of this finest literary creation. I have to admit that as someone who likes to know the exact meaning of every single word that I read, I had to turn to the dictionary quite a bit to brush up on my vocabulary from the era that the story is set in. It slowed me down at first, but I soon picked up pace and settled into a pleasant cadence until I found myself deliberately biding my time closer to the end, just to enjoy the book a tad bit longer. The second reason why this book stands out so much is the story itself. As details spanning various pages and years, along with the many ups and downs in the protagonist's lives, connect into an artfully crafted masterpiece, one is left to marvel at how such a mesmerizing story could have been conceived. While some events may seem improbable and certain pivotal developments of that era are glossed over, depriving the characters of added depth, the author's choices serve a greater purpose. This story brims with boundless charm and character, love and friendship, humanity and humor. Very impressively, thanks to the amount and depth of research Amor Towles must have done, it also evokes a very authentic feeling of this time, this place, and these people in the country that I know so well, the country I am from. The third reason why this book is so special is personal. Without giving away any major spoilers, I can say that the eponymous gentleman in Moscow observes, through the lens of his very peculiar circumstances, how his country transforms almost overnight into an entirely new one, where he must somehow build a new life and find his place. While my circumstances are very different in many respects, and we are about 100 years apart, I too know the feeling of witnessing my country take a profound historical turn and become something different from what I once knew. The ultimate beauty of this book, however, is that despite its tinge of melancholy, it is not at all a sad story. It is a story that leaves you with a profound sense of joy, of childlike wonder, and of life-affirming hope that, to paraphrase our gentleman, if a man masters his circumstances, he will not be mastered by them.